Hello, family and friends. This is Smoker from Cherished. I just want to get on here and chat with you for a while. I was on my way to the doctor and blood work, my kidney doctor for blood work and stuff. And I just wanted to talk to you as we go along with you.
How are you guys doing today? It's not too bad of a hot day here today. I know the weekends and stuff they say is going to be the only hot weather. It's going to be around, the news said, and then we're going to have that cold front or something coming in. I'm telling you what, I'm looking forward to them 70-degree weather, but I'm not ready for the cold weather. But we're just going to take you along today as we have some errands to do and everything. How are you guys doing? How is everyone? Got any great plans for the weekend? Mom, you got any good stories to tell?
No, I don't. This morning it was cool, very cool this morning, and now it's getting sunny and a little bit warmer, and then probably about 5 or 5:30, and then it start cooling back off and been a lot cooler. But it's time of year for all of that stuff.
Do you guys do like hay rides and the pumpkin patches and stuff? Do you guys go do any of that stuff? We do. We're looking forward to it. We can't do much in the summertime because, you know, Mommy has so much trouble breathing. So fall was when we can do some stuff, because the pumpkin patches and stuff and hay rides, she doesn't have to walk much. So we try to do as much of them as we can.
We went last year to one of the fall festival, and they had like pumpkin rides and that area. If you wanted to choose a pumpkin, you could. It was fun. I mean, and then we ate dinner there. It was a lot of people, and they had a big, like probably a acre of land, I guess, and it was nothing, just filled, with pumpkins. And then they had like a lot of other stuff, that you could buy if you wanted to. And I think we bought a few pumpkins.
Oh gosh, we bought 2 wagons full of stuff.
And then we bought some of it straw.
Yeah. And we got all kinds. My husband kept going back and getting the snacks. So, gosh, we sampled everything, I think. The only thing, I love fall, but the only thing is when you know fall's coming, which means winter is coming in. Just the cold weather is bad enough, but it makes me so nervous driving with snow and ice and stuff. It just makes me so nervous to drive. Now, snow is really pretty on Christmas. And then it also, where my husband goes to work, they get over a foot of snow and stuff, so it really makes me nervous too with him driving, in that kind of weather too. So, but there's nothing we can do about it. They say we're going to be in for a bad winter. The people who did the persimmons, forecast, or the wide's tail, whatever you want to call it, when they all opened it up, at the beginning, it was a spoon, and then, they wait till it gets ripe, and they did it again, and it still showed the same thing as a spoon, which means we're going to have a bunch of snow. And that makes me nervous because I don't like driving in snow. We have to drive Elijah, my nephew, Mommy's youngest grandbaby. We drive him. On a good day, it's 45 minutes one way to school. So driving in the winter time really makes me nervous. Bad weather is okay. Snow, makes me nervous. But when you get that snow and ice, I don't like it at all. It scares me to death. What was winters like for you, Mom, when you guys went to school?
We had a lot of snows when I was growing up. Let's see, it was on the bus route, and all the bad days like that they call school off. And sometimes, I can remember one summer, that we had to go like till the 15th, maybe about the 15th or 17th of June, and then our school always down there, due to like the weather, had started back in August, and we only had just a few weeks till we had to go back to school, but then our vacation was in the wintertime. But I guess that's for the best, because it's dangerous to be out here on these buses and stuff with, like a load of kids and a lot of snow on the ground. I can't remember. Well, I guess I maybe been like 11 or 12. We always went to church and Sunday school, and the snow would be way up almost to our knees. They would have the grades, roads usually graded by the time that, was Sunday. And, but the approach we come out of, it wasn't graded. And you would have snow and all over you, and then they didn't have the like the boots and stuff they had now. A lot of you maybe can remember that they had, we called them like rubber boots, and they like latched on like the opposite, the outside of your leg. And I'm telling you what, you couldn't wear shoes with those. And we put like 3 or 4 pairs of socks on. And I'm telling you the truth, that you didn't know what toe was what, that your feet and toes was so cold. And that's what we had to wear also, like to school.
I remember when me and Brad were little in the country and wanting to know if we didn't have school. We'd get up so early, because back then you had to listen to it to a radio. And Mommy would have the wood stove, coal stove going, and she was starting to, fill up her iron tub to give us a bath, because, we didn't have running water. We had well water. We didn't have like a bathtub, to take a bath and stuff inside. So she would have to get up early and get her stuff for our shower. And Brad, I can remember Brad would always say, "Now, Mom," he'd always call, he wouldn't call Mommy, Mommy. He'd say, "Now, Mom, there ain't a bit of need now to get that water heating up on that stove now. Now, have you looked outside? Now, we're not going to have school. There's too much snow out there now, Ma." And he'd quarrel, and he would quarrel. He'd get so mad because she would be filling up that, the water and heating it up, because just in case, we had school, she didn't want to send us without taking a bath.
Back then, we took baths. They had a number 2 tub, which it was this big round one, and then they had a number 3 tub, and it was oval. And that's what we had to take our bath in, and you can imagine how many different waters that you would have to pack and boil in order to take a decent bath.
And he would say, like Mommy was saying, he would get so mad. And if you knew my brother when he was little, he was a little bitty feller, and his hair was snow white. It was as snow white as the first snow. And he'd get so mad, and he'd stomp his foot, and he'd say, "Now I'm not doing it." And sometimes if he'd catch Mommy's back turned, real quick, honey, he'd dump the water out, because he knew that we weren't going to have a snow day. And it just made him mad as far. And I'm telling you what, he would quarrel. Remember that, Mommy? He would quarrel because she would be, boiling that water, on that stove. And I can just hear it in my mind today. He'd say, "Now, Ma, now I swear to God, Ma, I don't know what in the world you're boiling that water for, because we're not going to school. I'm a telling Daddy," he'd say.
Well, here we are to the doctor's office, so I'll talk with you later, and God bless each and every one of you, and just have a good day.
Bye.
Hello, family and friends. I'm back to chat with you for a while. I got my blood work and stuff done now. I'm going to see what her next stop will be, because she said she needed to pick up a couple things here and there and pick those up. Then we got to come back and go through some more containers that she has stuff in. I think she said some of them was for the outside, some more for the inside. But really, I mean, to me, I think she's got plenty on the inside, and because I think really your eyes can just take in, like so much at a time. But it's pretty much stuff, here and there. And there won't be no time till you gotta take those up and then put something up for Thanksgiving and Christmas. This is just right around the corner.
When do you guys decorate for Christmas? I have an aunt, my dad's sister-in-law, Catherine. She's already got her tree up, and she put hers up, I think, like at the beginning of October, wasn't it? Something like that.
I guess so, yeah.
I would put mine up too, but my husband would have a heart attack if he'd come home and we'd have her tree up already.
I mean, I like Christmas trees, things like that. But, now, let them be up a couple months now. I don't know about that.
When do you guys decorate your guys' tree and put it up? We'll probably put ours up probably sometime in November.
After a while, to me, I get tired of looking at them after a while, but now they're pretty. But
and what hurts us too is the living room upstairs is not very big.
Yeah.
And we got a pretty big tree, so it takes up a lot of space with, the tree, people, and animals,
It's easier to put them up than it is to take them down.
I'll tell you guys a story while I'm thinking about it. So we decided, me and my husband decided, well, it was not last year, the year before that, wasn't it? We said, we're going to go get us a Christmas tree. We're going to go cut us down a live Christmas tree. Well, Daddy said, now look, now y'all better realize, when you go cut a Christmas tree, you're looking at a Christmas tree that's in a field or on, or on a hill, and things, it's going to look smaller where it's at compared to it being, the size of your house. We said, okay, we got it, we understood it, So me and my husband and stuff, we go, we look around, Well, we fell in love with this tree. Now, mind you, this tree looks small, like Daddy said, it looks small, My husband said, well, he looked at it and said, well, okay, what your dad said's true, this is small, it'll work. So he went and he cut down first the guy came, we said we want to cut this one down, and I even asked the guy, I said, now are you sure this is going to fit in her living room? The guy said, oh yeah, no problem, it'll fit good. Okay. That should have been my first red flag, that the guy didn't ask me how big her living room or anything was. So my husband cut this tree down, when we cut, it took a good while. Well, once this tree fell, we both kind of looked at each other like, because you have to pull it out yourself and take it to them, and they wrap it up, and then they help you put it on your car. And we both kind of looked at each other like, wow, this tree looks awful big, But I thought, we both said, well, okay, it's probably nothing because, it was small when we looked at it. The guy wrapped it up, put it on there. Well, it covered the whole thing of I can't remember if we had a truck or car, but it covered the whole thing. Still, we're like, oh, okay, no problem. It was small, but we looked at it. Okay, so then we got my son Sawyer. He came, and was Elijah up there too? And then, yeah, Elijah was up there. Daddy and Mommy was down in their room. We go get the tree. We put it up, and Sawyer's like, first words, I'll never forget it. Sawyer said, are you sure this is your guys' tree? We're like, yeah, this is no problem. So we get the tree, we get it in the house, we get the bottom of the tree stand there, and we're looking, and this tree already is huge. Like, it's tall. I mean, it's already, like, not wholly fitting tall-wise in the living room. We still didn't think nothing about it. So we're holding it. We told my son Sawyer, said, go ahead and cut start cutting you know, the, whatever you call it, the binding or whatever they put on it. So he starts cutting it, and he looks at me, and first Elijah says, "Are you sure there's no squirrels or anything in this tree? Because I hear noise," he said. So I said, "Well, no, it could be, but I think it's okay." So we start cutting it, you know, we're cutting it, you know, a couple things. And then Sawyer looks at my husband, dead serious in his eyes, and he says, "I don't think this is a good idea." So by this time, you know, so him and Elijah are cutting. And all of a sudden, Elijah says, this is not good. So Sawyer goes and he cuts another thing of it. And let me tell you what, when him and Elijah cut that one strand each, that tree exploded. And when I mean exploded, I mean Sawyer was grabbing our flat screen TV. Elijah was grabbing lamps. We were grabbing tables. I mean, this tree, I mean, when I said it exploded, I mean, it exploded out. It covered our whole living room. I mean, you could barely sit in one chair. We laughed till we cried. And Sawyer says, "Well, Elijah," said, "this is National Lampoon's Christmas right here with this Christmas tree." So then Elijah says, "All we need now is the squirrel. I'm sure there's a squirrel in the tree." So by the time Elijah says that, Bandit, or Baby Girl, I can't remember which one of the cats at the time, ran all the way up at the tree at the top and looked, and then the tree almost fell down. We laughed till we cried. Okay, so we get it down. So then we help Daddy, you know, from the thing, and him and Mommy come upstairs. Daddy said, I'll never forget, he shook his head and he said, "Upon my word and honor, I have never seen anything like that in my life. Did you guys buy the biggest tree at the tree lot?" And we were like, "It looks small. We did what you said. If the tree looks small, it will fit." And Daddy said, "No, I was saying if a tree looks small on the tree lot, it doesn't mean it's small. It just looks small compared to the other trees." I mean, he did, and Mommy, they laughed, and he told everybody. And every time he'd come upstairs, he'd say, "Oh, my word and honor, I've never seen a tree like that in my life." And then, you know, after a couple days, you know, the branches and stuff kind of give, you know, way a little bit anyway. So it had gave way even more. I mean, we could not hardly budge. We could not hardly move. I mean, we couldn't basically sit in the living room when it was time to give, you know, like unwrap the presents and stuff. People were actually even standing in the kitchen and dining room when we were passing out presents. I mean, but it was, I mean, we laughed so hard. I mean, that was just, it was, we laughed so hard. And then if you just seen Elijah and Sawyer's face, they were both so serious. This ain't a good idea. This ain't a good idea. And then my nephew Elijah, he's got this thing. He always says duck and cover when things happen. Boy, that tree, and he was saying duck and cover, grab this, and he was grabbing the lamp, and Sawyer was grabbing the TV. I mean, and then I'm in shock because I didn't know what was happening there for a minute. And my husband was grabbing stuff, and I mean, I'm telling you what, after it happened, the boys was just laughing so hard because there was one holding the TV, and Elijah had the lamp and the table, and I've got stuff. The dogs is a barking, and Daddy's coming up and he's shaking his head because he couldn't believe it. Mommy just killed herself laughing. I mean, it was just the funniest thing ever was. I'll never forget that. It was like we had our own National Lampoon's Christmas with our Christmas tree. But I'll never do that again. It was a beautiful tree, but oh my God, the sap on it and all that to clean up. Nope, we learned our lesson the hard way. So last year we went and got us a real pretty artificial tree that looks real. So that's good enough for me.
And that tree was God's. It was so rounded in the middle, was ridiculous. The top of it, the branches were smaller, and a few days in there, it was leaning over. The top of it was leaning over, and then a few more days in, the whole tree was trying to lean over. I mean, I never seen nothing like it.
I mean, it was huge, wasn't it?
I mean, it was so round and big. I think it would have taken about every decoration Walmart had.
And it was so big. What she said, we couldn't even decorate the back of it.
The back of it, you couldn't get all the way around it.
And they only had so much, and they had to cut some of the top off because it wouldn't fit.
They even had to cut some of the branches off a little bit, and it still didn't work.
Well, it was so funny. We had half decorations, but we just gave up on the lights because we couldn't even get lights around it.
Yeah, it was.
Oh my goodness. And then the cats kept going up in the trees because I guess they smelled maybe the birds or the squirrels or something. And they kept trying to scale it, remember?
Yeah.
But you know, those are precious memories that I'll never forget. And I know the boys will never forget because, you know, that's what it's like, is making memories. You know, we're blessed. We have, now we have we're a little family, but, it was always, us. And then, like I said, we've lost my brother and, now we've lost Daddy. So it's just us now. So we hold on to those precious memories, that we have. Because one thing that what people say is true is time don't wait, The days may seem long, but the weeks and the months and years fly by. Like, it's crazy. Like, we look and I'm like, how is, my brother been gone 2 years? It seems like yesterday. How can Daddy be gone a year? It seems like yesterday. How can my Aunt Janie be gone a year? It seems like yesterday. How can Mama be gone 3 years? Because everything just seems like yesterday. And then, like I was sitting talking to Mommy, like my son Sawyer, he'll be 30 the 24th of November. How is he 30? I mean, I can remember him being born. He was born on Thanksgiving. Like, how can he be 30, And then I look at Elijah, the same, then that following April, Elijah's going to be 18. How could he be 18? Like, I can remember when he was a baby too. It was like yesterday, and that's another thing too that I was going to tell people out there. If you're a grandparents, if you're aunts, if you're uncles, and if you're raising your your grandkids, your nieces and nephews, I hope you know what truly blessing that is. Because I'm telling you what, I may not have gave birth to Elijah, but I'm telling you what, he's my son. I mean, I claim him, just like he is. And he has been such a blessing that we've got to raise him. I mean, he's rotten. He's spoiled. He's rotten. But, what kid ain't spoiled and what kid ain't rotten? And, you look at him and he is so attached to us too, to be a boy. Don't you think he is?
Yeah.
And I mean, he is so attached to us. And it is, it's the most sweetest thing. He'll get in the car every night when we pick him up from school. And he'll say, Nene, Sissy, did you all miss me today? That's the first thing he says as soon as it's not a day that he don't get in the car. And he don't say, do you guys miss me today? And we'll say, yeah, well, we did. Well, do you love me? We'll say, yeah. Look, and I'm telling you what, when we tell him we miss him, he just smiles the biggest it was. And sometimes I'll joke with him and I'll say, no sir, I didn't miss you. I didn't think at all today. And he'll look at me from there and he'll give me the look. I said, Bub, said I'm joking with you. I said, we missed you. But it just shows you the kind hearts and what they have. And that's his thing that he wants to know when he gets in the car. Did you guys miss me? And, sometimes I think, maybe he thinks that because, like I said, he lost his dad. His mom's not in the picture. Basically Elijah has been with me, Mommy, and Daddy since he's been born. So, he really don't know them. My brother always came up every day to see him and, that kind of stuff. But, his mom really was never in the picture, so he really don't know them as, mom or dad. He knows, like, Nene, Papa, Sissy, and he calls my husband Donkey, And then my husband calls him Little Man, so they got their little nicknames for each other. But you know, they know you and you're important to them in their lives. So don't never think, you know, that you're not doing an important thing, because taking care of them is important. And not only is it important, but it's a blessing. It's you know, you're really showing them care and love and things, you know, that they don't normally would have. But it's just such a blessing, and we get to see all that stuff, you know. We get to experience all the birthdays and Christmases and all of his little things. And he'll say, and he'll have me to sew 50 patches on pants or whatever it may be, you know. But you know, just seeing them come into their own person that they are, it's just a blessing. But I just thought that was the sweetest thing, you know. And I don't know if your guys' grandkids or nieces and nephews that you guys are raising that does the same thing, but I just think that's the cutest thing, don't you, Mom, when he gets in the car and says that?
Every day.
It is true. I mean, it is every day. It is not a day that he doesn't do it. I mean, it's not like he does it once. No, I mean, he does it every day. And he's serious. He wants to know, did you miss me today? You know? And it's funny. Then he'll text me along in school. You know, what are you doing? This and that. Or whatever it is. He'll ask or something. But know that you guys are doing an important thing, you know, because at the end of the day, they want to be loved and cared for just like everyone else. And you know, maybe sometime me and Mommy will sit down and really tell, you know, more of the stories. But you know, it's hard because some of the stories is not our stories to tell. You know, it's you know, you're talking about someone else's stories. Even though you're a part of the story, you know, you can just tell your part. But it's, you know, it's hard to tell some parts about your family, you know, and things. And you know, you just feel like you're kind of not betraying their trust, but maybe you're telling things that, you know, maybe they don't want told or something. But maybe sometime we'll sit down, me and Mommy, and talk more about my brother and you know, Elijah's mom, and kind of how we ended up with them and stuff. We may sometime, you know, do that. It's some things are so hard to talk about, though, you know. But it's just time don't wait. Time, it flies by, you know, like they say, you know, it's like a vapor in the wind. And it's true. It's like, you know, you're here today, you're gone tomorrow. You could be perfectly fine or whatever, you know, and go. And that's, like I said, that was like with my dad. I mean, he was no signs of anything that morning except for kind of the death rattle. But that night before, or up to that, I mean, he was perfectly fine, you know, until the death rattle started. But it was like,
well, except smothering and coughing, but he did that every day.
Yeah, he always smothered and coughed. So you didn't think nothing about that. And that's what I'm saying. It's like, you know, it's true when they say, you know, you can be here 1 minute and gone the next. It's true. I mean, we've seen it with our own eyes, how fast, you know, someone could be here and how fast they could go. You know, I held my mama's hand when she passed away. She was in hospice up in Michigan. And me and my cousin Sean was right there the whole time. Sean was at her feet, and I was up there holding her hand the whole time. And it was like, you know, you're just watching someone, you know, leave this earth. And it's heartbreaking. Just like with my dad, we watched Daddy, you know, take his breaths and you know, and pass away, and how different it was from Mamaw. I don't think Mamaw's was a peaceful, Mamaw's to me was just, it was just horrible. It was just nothing what hospice makes it out to be. Hers wasn't like that. But my dad's was just so much more peaceful, and it's just.
Mommy, she always stayed. She was able to stay by herself. And
she was what, 89, wasn't she?
89.
Lived by herself, did her own shopping, paid her own bills.
Yeah. And then when they had that fire up at desolate Michigan apartment. That was where my mom and my brother and his wife lived also, but they lived in separate apartments. And my brother and my sister-in-law, they lived, like on one side, and it was kind of in the back. And then the floor up on top started from the second floor. And she was in the bathroom at that time. And ceilings fell in on her and had burned her up there in that apartment. You probably heard it all on the news.
Yeah, you guys could look it up and you could see the story.
And she got burned up and hit. And then Mommy and my sister was over at my mom's when it happened. And
she tried to get in and help her, but she couldn't save her.
And the smoke was had got so much down in her lungs that it took her to the hospital. And my sister had to go to the hospital. And then this one guy in the back of Mom, was on the side where Mom lived, his legs were off. And my sister, that she was the one that pulled him out to safety and got him out before he got to him. And they also tried to get to my sister-in-law, and they was unable to. The flame was too high. Wow.
Oh, and I'm going to tell you real quick before we go into this other place, kind of how my grandma was. My grandma was a country girl, country woman, hillbilly. She'd tell you I'm a hillbilly and I'm proud of it. Well, when Mama moved to Michigan, Mama didn't care, what you were, what your color was, black, white, purple, green, whatever. She didn't care. If you were hungry, she was going to feed you, no matter what. Well, she goes out to take out the garbage one day, by her apartment complex, and there was this young, well, I would say young, maybe what was he, maybe 20s, 30s, maybe?
Probably around 30.
Maybe 30, this, 30-year-old black, guy was there, and Mama was taking out her garbage, and somehow or another they, Mama said hi to everybody, so Mama struck a conversation with him, and in the conversation, Mama said, well, buddy, said, I hope you have a blessed day. I'm going in to, I'm going to start my, supper, And then I guess the feller said, oh, man, so that sounds really good, what you're fixing, Said, I'm sure hungry, Mama said, buddy, have you ate, are you hungry? Because, she didn't know, because, sometimes people could tell you, oh, that sounds good, and not that they're hungry, but just that food kind of sounds good to them. And he had told Mama, he said, no, he said, ma'am, he said, I'm not ate, and I'm hungry. Well, that did it for Mama. She said, okay, come on, buddy. She said, you're going with me. Oh, no, ma'am, that's fine, he kept saying. Mama said, nope, you're coming with me. So Mama kept bringing him, he would be for him to follow Mama to her apartment. And mind you, at this time, Mama's probably, 86, 87, maybe even 88, And Mama was a little 5-foot lady, probably, if she was that tall, soaking wet. So he comes and she opens the door and he's still standing outside. And Mama said, oh, no, buddy, said, you're coming in. Come on in. And he said, oh, no, ma'am, I'm fine right here. And she said, no, ma'am. She said, everybody that I feed, there's always a seat at my table. I always have an extra seat at my table for people that's hungry. Well, she would be for that guy to come in.
And she pulls him out of the chair at the table.
Yep, and she pulls him out of the chair at the table. She gets the stuff out and she fixes him plates of food. And he eats and eats and eats and eats and eats. I mean, he just, as much as Mama would feed him. And he ate and everything else and stuff like that. He looked at Mama. He said, "Ma'am," he said, "I sure appreciate that." He said, "You looked at me like a person. You didn't judge me. You didn't even ask me no questions. You didn't even ask me why I was hungry or nothing. You just knew I was hungry and you were going to feed me." And so he left, and we went up there one time and stuff, to come to find out the guy that my mama fed was a drug dealer. One of the big drug dealers, actually, that they come to find out, and he protected Mama up there in Michigan, because Michigan, can be rough, but everybody knew not to mess with her, that he was watching her. And when we come to find out, like, oh my gosh, like Mama, he had just got out of jail or something. I don't know. I can't remember the full story. Can you? But once we found out, we were like, Mama, you cannot just open your door to people, and bring them in and feed them. And she looked at us all and she said, as long as God gives me breath in my body, and as long as I have food in my freezer or in my house, and I know that someone's hungry, she said, I am going to feed them. I am opening up my door and I'm opening up my table and I'm going to feed them. She said, because that would be what Jesus would do. She said, Jesus did not turn people away for what they did, what color they were, or anything else. She said he fed them, and that's what I'm going to do. And that was the type of person Mama was. She would feed you. She didn't care. She didn't care what you did or nothing else. And in her mind, she did not think I'm an 80. She was like either 86 or 88. It didn't cross her mind that I'm, an elderly woman. I should not be opening my door and feeding people because they could hurt me. But in her mind, she was like, these people are hungry. I have extra food, and I am going to feed them. And he was telling the other family members, he said, she treated me like a person. Like, she never looked down on me. She treated me like a person. And he looked after her the whole time. Because my mama would even take her little cart to the store, in the summer and stuff like that, and back. And he protected her. And he said she showed me grace. She did not judge me. And it was so funny because everybody knew that story. Even the cops up there. I mean, just everybody knew that story, what Mama did. And I think even some of the cops even had told her, like, her name was Mary, like, Mary Jane, you can't be doing that, And she just told them the same thing. I'll feed them if they're hungry. But, that was just the kind of person she was. And I just wanted to share that little story with you.
Hello, family and friends. Well, we just come out of Walmart. She needed a few things, and then I picked up a few things.
We got a cart full of stuff we didn't need.
And a lot of, some of the stuff, we didn't need. We're going to stock it up. And we went ahead and they had turkeys out today, so we went ahead and got one. They was like $1, was it $6 or $1.08 a pound? I know maybe later on they might be a lot cheaper. Yet again, they might be higher. But we went ahead and just
it's the
got
butterball
one.
too.
It's the butterball. Like in case something happens or whatever. At least. We'll have one on hand. And I told her, I said, well, still got to pick up another one for like Christmas. But a lot of people, they only have like ham or something like that for, I think they have like turkey on Thanksgiving and ham on Christmas. I think some people, they have both, and we try to have both. But we don't get like a big size, big one, but big enough size, where you can eat and also have enough left over for a couple of days. And I don't know anymore. It seems like when you have like big meals and holiday meals, people don't eat now. Like they used to get. They used to, like holler like they was starving to death when this was going to be done and when that was going to be done.
Like Daddy and Brad.
Yeah. They'd always say, well, you're going to let a person here starve to death. I mean,
if food wasn't done by 1 o'clock.
But really, I mean, that was at all times, like growing up, well, really the parents, well, the mothers really, they did all the cooking and they would have two and three big meals, every day. But back when I was growing up too, people, they went to bed with the chickens and they got up with the roof. And they'd have breakfast on the table like 6:30 and 7 o'clock. And then one more time, 12:30 or more, you was ready for dinner. But also, you had to help. You had to help with everything. Like the gardens, the home, packing water, I mean, they didn't work kids to death, but you had to, you had to work. You also had to help. And we got pumpkin each for the boys, and they wanted like a carver. I tell them what mess they're going to make out of it. But man, my daughter was talking, we're going to get the seeds out of them. We'll probably roast some of the seeds. I don't know if anybody would eat them. And I'm going to try to dry some out and see what they would do with the garden next year. But it don't hurt to see. They may not do nothing. And then again, they might come up in another year, Sometimes you can plant something other and they all won't come up, and then maybe the next year then you might have like a sprouted tube of, like something that's going up. But I guess it's just the way it is. And, like Tommy toes, we would always like the ones, like if something neat off of it, or they started to rot or whatever, she would lay all of those in an area where she could remember, and then every year we'd have a whole big patch of Tommy toes that would come up. And like on YouTube, I watch a lot of YouTube too sometimes, and I was watching this one YouTube channel that they was saying about saving like seeds and stuff and having luck with them. I don't know that it's true or not, or it would happen for everybody. But now I can remember when my mom, she used to save seeds, and she would also dry green beans, if you know what I'm talking about, shut beans, they would always call them. And people, when I was growing up, they would put black pepper in them, not a whole lot, but they would put black pepper in them. And after they dried really, really good on their seeds and chuck beans and everything like that, and they would put that black pepper in it, and so that would keep, like the bugs, worms, and all of that stuff, out. And but then you're going to make sure that, you don't get no moisture in them. Now, that's what they done, all the time, and they would save seeds and stuff, and out of like what they had too, and they would even replant, and they would also buy. And down home we had, it was like Southern States, they sold, like seeds for like blue seeds. They sold them like a pound or half a pound or whatever you wanted. And I mean, you never had no trouble, like with them and things like that. They came up good. And Mommy would always plant 3, like gardens, like every year. And she'd laugh and she'd say, well, for my friends, because she always shared garden stuff with everybody. At first, I don't care what it was. If she had a mess, they had a mess. And then she would write and say, well, now I'm going to sow this little third small patch here. And she said, I want to plant it. She said, closer to the road. Well, she would plant it. She'd say, well, now this little garden here is for the roads. She'd say that every year. Well, really, and truthfully, people, they begin in your garden, they take whatever, I don't know if they would take them home and use them, or, or just take them and sell them, but it just wasn't our garden. It was the majority of the people, like that. Or maybe theirs didn't do as good, but it was funny, and it would happen every year, every single year. And then when the one she planted for like our family, she'd make sure as soon as, that they was ripe enough to come off, that she'd make sure that she would have them, like off. And she'd have the same thing that was ready, like for the neighbors. And she would give the neighbors the same thing. And, that was the same thing. But we didn't have any hogs. We had chickens. And like if they killed hogs, everybody around, they would get a mess of that, like hog meat. And that's just the way, that the people was. They shared what they had. But there's nothing wrong, with that. Down there, up in that Kroger's too, gotta pick up my medicine. Just one thing or another.
And family and friends, we hope you enjoyed our card chat that we had with you guys today. And if you haven't subscribed to our channel, Our Cherished 5, we would love to have you come and join our family. We post a little bit of everything. Our videos is not perfect by no means. We're learning, but we're just us. We want to be as authentic on our videos as we are at home, or if you meet us on the street. We don't want to pretend like we're something we're not. We just want to be us, and our videos show that, and we hope you guys like them. And if you like this video, we would appreciate if you give us a thumbs up and a comment and share, and please subscribe. And I hope you guys have a great weekend coming up and get everything that you need done and enjoy this last, I think, of the hot weather they say we got coming. And family and friends, I've enjoyed talking to you. And thank you for letting Our Cherished 5 come into your home.
And keep praying for all the flood victims. May God bless each and every one of you.
Bye.
Bye.